Hi everybody, and welcome back to BIM Hive. Today we're going to be going through a very simple but very effective tool in Dynamo. The actual script itself is designed for making quick and easy sheets coming from an Excel document. Now, before we get into this, I would just like to make it clear that this is the baby step for what we can eventually do down the track in this series to auto-populate all the correct information and make sure there's 100% accuracy in our sheets that are going out to our clients. Now, the first thing I'd like to bring your attention to is that we only have one sheet created inside of this model. It's the A000 title sheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to extract the information from our sheet schedules itself for certain issues that we need to get out, for example, like a DA compliance for sketch design, and then we're going to auto-populate it inside of Revit. Now, typically you would go through the process of manually clicking, creating a new sheet, and renaming it every single time. This script will allow you to do an infinite amount of sheets itself. The highest count that I have gone up to is 1,000 sheets, and it took me a total of only 1.5 minutes of processing it. Now, let's get into it. So the first thing you want to do is have an Excel document ready to go. I've used mine as a very generic template. As you can see in the cell column on the left hand side, for the A, we have our sheet numbers itself. It goes to A01 all the way up to A070. It's a very stock standard and generic process. But the idea behind this is that most offices have different naming conventions, different principles, and they have clients that have different acts behind it. So you might be able to pre-populate these inside of your templates, but 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have to change them. So we can automate this process. It'll make life a lot easier. As you can see in column B, we have all of our sheet names itself. Now you're probably wondering, why don't we have these two combined already? Well, that's because Revit takes it into account as one being the sheet number and one being the sheet name. And if they were together, we wouldn't be able to populate any sheets. So first thing you want to do once you have your sheet numbers and your sheet name set up, just give it a good old save and just close it down. But also, before we do that, just make sure that you have the actual worksheet name itself written down somewhere. As you can see, my one's right here as sheet list. So I typically would just go Control C so I can bring it right into Dynamo. Awesome. So now we're just going to fire up our Dynamo script, and this one's called Quick Basic Sheets.in. So I'm just going to take you through how we go about this. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we have our file path correctly selected for our actual Excel document itself. Then we want to make sure that the sheet name matches up. So all I need to do is go delete, Control V, and we're good to go. This option right here for true, it's just make sure that it reads it as characters rather than numbers. This can have a huge effect down the track, and you may not think that a true or false may have such a big impact, but trust me, it does. So from here, we go up to our first column tab. Now this is called obtaining sheet numbers. So what we're doing is, rather than having it go as a vertical information, we're changing it to be horizontal information. Now this is what Revit works off with Dynamo itself and also including Excel. It may seem like a workaround and a painstake, but trust me, it's going to be all worth it. So the first thing that we're doing, we're isolating it. So rather than being column A, it is now column 0. So it's now row 0. And the same goes for obtaining the sheet name. Instead of it being column B, it's row 1. Now when we come over to here, all we need to do, that's anything different to what we normally do, is just make sure that we have the correct title block of our choice. In my case, I'm just using the default A1 metric, and all I'm doing right now is just going to click run. It'll take only a few moments. You'll notice that the Excel document pops back up, and we will just close that down, minimize our Dynamo, and voila. Here on the right hand side are all of our sheets created. I have essentially saved you hours of painstaking work with one basic script. And as I said before at the beginning of this episode, this is only the baby steps to what we can do. I've hit a point now in my office where I can have full QA for every revision as well as every offer and checker alongside with every single key plan correctly populated on the sheets. So when it goes out to our client, there aren't any issues at all and everything's accurate and consistent as it should be. Thank you. Have a great day.